We're excited to have you with us. Jessica Cooper, she's the Oakland County Prosecutor, our Chief Law Enforcement Officer here in Oakland County. Thank you for being with us on the MegaCast.
Thank you for inviting me.
So many things have changed in the courthouse during COVID. Can you bring us up to date on where things stand now?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's not just the courthouse. We're attached to the courthouse, if you're familiar, of course, with the campus. But starting in March, basically, we've become a bit of a ghost town. Most of our work is done by Zoom. Not my favorite way of proceeding, but most of the work is done by Zoom. Most of our attorneys, until recently, were off campus. So what I would be here every day, and my chief assistant, and the warrants division would be here every day, and you'd have maybe two attorneys on the floor and one secretary. So we were. You have to understand the nature or the size of our office. We have 95 attorneys and about 80 support staff. So when I tell you it's a ghost town, it's a ghost town. What they are doing, though, of late, is that all of the work, all of the pre-trials, all of the hearings were usually done by Zoom. Now that works very well for Oakland County when they're all together, but the prosecutor's office represents, and when you're talking about the county of Oakland, we have 14 different district courts with different physical locations. And so 10 of those are not county courts, so they're municipal courts. They're funded by the municipalities, but we would be doing the preliminary exams, and we're doing their state law matters. And so it has been a bit of a logistical difficulty, and we finally got it ready and going. And now we are seeing, as this lightens up and as we're able to proceed more, we're seeing more people in our offices, more people in the court. And what they're trying to do right now, at least in Oakland County, is to start beginning to hold jury trials. And they have scheduled jury trials, one a murder on the 24th, and a couple days later, they've scheduled another matter. Now, whether that's going to go or whether it's not going to go, they're going to try, and they have a system where they're working to do what is known as a voir dire, where you ask the jurors the questions that are necessary to be part of a jury panel. And I think that the problem that we're all going to see, and you see not only in Oakland County, you're going to see in other counties, you're going to see throughout the country, is that people are afraid. Okay, and no matter what we do, there are going to be people who are afraid. And so when you take, for instance, a murder exam, you would have a very large group of people who the attorneys would question, and that would go so that they could select that jury panel. I don't know that is going to be physically possible, and I'm not so certain whether or not that will actually occur, but we are going to try. We're going to bring people in, and that's really you would want to talk to the court administrators to see the programs and the ways in which they're trying to do it. It's going to be very cumbersome at first, but we have all sorts of trials that have been backed up for the past 6 months. And whether or not we're going to be able to do it this way, or whether we're going to have to keep tweaking and changing so that the system goes on. I want the citizens of this county to understand that the system has gone on except for the actual physical trials, and those are beginning. And it's going to depend when someone requires, when we have a judge trial, those have been going forward. When you have more likely in the district courts, or when you have a circuit court trial, a felony trial, you need a much bigger, we call it a veneer, which is a group of people who will come in to be examined in terms of sitting as a juror. And so I think our problems are twofold. We're still very insecure and rightfully so, and very careful about that virus. They're going to try and get clear. They're going to use one floor instead of one courtroom. They're going to keep people separated, and they're going to do it as well as they possibly can. Whether it will work or not, we haven't had our first one yet. I know that it works in other states because I've been in contact with some of my friends throughout the United States, and particularly in Washington State. They're going forward. They've had a series of civil trials, and they have begun now to have the criminal trials take place. So it's a huge operation, and I think it's very different from what I've had for the past 12 years. We will know whether it works or doesn't work. Get back to us after October, because we're not really certain whether or not we're going to get enough jurors.
Oakland County Prosecutor Jessica Cooper with us today on the Oakland County Megacast. Just a few more minutes left with you, Prosecutor Cooper. Before we do let you go for the day, let's talk a little bit about the Foundation for Kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization, its connection to Oakland County, and what it does for kids in the community?
Well, basically, it started about 12 years ago, and we have something called the Children's Village, and in the Children's Village there is a cottage known as Mandy's Place, and in Mandy's Place, the children who are removed from very dangerous situations are placed in Mandy's Village. So you have people, young people from all ages who are either abused or neglected, or in some cases you have a single parent family and the mother gets sick or the mother dies, and the Mandy's Place is supposed to be temporary, and it's supposedly no one stays for more than 30 days. Sometimes that happens that it's 2 and 3 months, but basically it's the holding place before they can find other relatives or they can find foster care, which means that at the holiday time, those are children of all ages. Sometimes they're teens, they're preteens. We've had them as young as 4 and 5 years of age, and they are not fostered out. They don't have family, and they are alone. And as good and as wonderful as the people are at Mandy's Place, those are kids who are alone on the holiday season. So we started out simply with our prosecutors having a luncheon, which we put on, and that in order to come to the luncheon, you would bring a prize or a gift for one of these children. Then over the years, we have refined it so that basically these we have a 501c3 organization. We put on a race, we put on a golf outing, and what happens at the holiday time is all of these kids get a change of clothes, because sometimes they're removed from their homes with the clothes on their back. They have nothing. So they get a change of clothes. They have kids there who have never had pajamas and robes and slippers. You have kids there who they don't have access to a computer. So we're running around the county trying to find radios with transistors. Can you believe it? Because there's no access to computer, and they need to stick something in their ear, whether it's to hear music, to relax. We give them books. We give them for the little ones toys. We give them and we put them all in their own size, with their names on it, and then we ask them whether or not they want something specific, and we try very hard to get that. And any given year, we'll have kids there who are mostly teens and preteens, invisible to the world, unfortunately. And they've never had a Christmas like that. It's turned into these huge packages, and they're individually wrapped, and they've got their names on it. And then sometimes a part of the gifts that we have to give them are toiletries, because in Mandy's place it's industrial strength. And if you've got teenage girls, they want makeup and they want things for their hair, and the guys want scrub, and being able to have those things. And we're talking about what they want. You're really talking about kids who have been traumatized. They've been taken out of their homes for whatever reason, whether it's abuse or neglect or something horrible has happened to them. They're alone on the holidays, and for them to get presents with their names on it, with their name, with in their size, I don't know who gets greater joy, us or them.
So quickly, I know so many nonprofits are struggling right now to get donations. If our listeners and viewers want to help with this project, how can they find out more to donate?
They can call our office. They can call me. They can call Paul. We are now in transition, because we're going to be changing the location. We have a closet full of clothing in different sizes, and we're going to have to transition that to another place under different leadership, because it's a 501c3. We're meeting the person who is literally our president is actually a defense attorney, and his name is Tom Cramner. Our secretary is also a defense attorney, and so we turned it into a 501c3. You can contact me over the next couple of months, or you could contact Tom Cramner, Cranmer.
Jessica Cooper with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. She is the Oakland County Prosecutor, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer here in Oakland County, and also the first woman to hold the position. And we want to thank you. We have just about a minute left. When you are able to try to have your first jury trial on the 24th, we'd love to have you back on the show to see how that goes. In about 30 seconds time, anything you want the public to know about what you and your team are doing over there at the prosecutor's office?
Again, it's almost so complicated, because we have to keep going, and we're not, particularly in the district courts, because those district courts aren't under a central control. So when we're talking about our jury trials in circuit court, we have a circuit court, we have a chief judge. When we're talking about the district court, and the district court is where we get our even greater volume. And you would say between district court and circuit court, we've got 20,000 cases. And being able to do that remotely, sometimes by phone, and sometimes now more and more our attorneys are in physically into that courtroom, being able to keep people safe, being able to can you imagine talking in a trial with a mask on? So it's a new experience for all of us. And I'd like to think that it's just us, but it's going on all over this country. And so we're all going to, we reach out to our colleagues all over the place to see who's got a better idea and what works better. And what will work better here. And you probably want to know what happens on the 24th. And if it's the 24th, we've got three more days scheduled.
Well, we appreciate your time so much. We need to wrap it up here on the Oakland County MegaCast.